Welcome everyone to the final Pre-searing Guild Wars Prophecies video. We have a few quests to wrap up. I go to show the last area where the final collector is that was added late to the game that I was talking about previously. We hit the last area of the catacombs as part of this quest that we're about to do. And I finally make up my mind for sure that I'm not going to spend any time just doing all the nooks and crannies of every last thing in pre-searing, and we go ahead and move on to the next part of the game. This is a quest that I could have actually done earlier. It's just been so long since I did pre-searing. I flat out didn't remember that it was okay to go ahead and do this quest. Okay, right here, this is the first stage of the quest where Menlo sends us in to talk to Necromancer. I have never learned how to pronounce her name, who is just inside here. It's really weird. All of the NPC companions that you follow throughout the entire game, all of them are present, or at least all the major ones are present here in pre-searing, except for the Necromancer companion, because it's a completely different person. You'd think it's one of these Necromancers that you interact with here, but it's not. I think one of these you actually see later on in the game. But Menlo is one of the NPC companions that you'll get to use later on. Little Tom will show up later. Then of course we've got some generics that we'll get to that aren't any of the characters with personalities. But as far as the characters with personalities goes, you've got Menlo, Devana. She becomes a regular companion later on. Aiden, the ranger, he becomes a regular companion later on. Think. Mesmer, I don't think any of the Mesmer is a regular companion. I can't even that's right. Anyway, this is the pit. I've mentioned it several times. There's just this giant pit with water pouring into it. That's in one corner over here, most easily accessible from the Barradin Estate entrance. You've got all these undead that are stationed on the inner and outer edge of this ledge. If you just off running down the middle, you're going to add a ton of them. You can go through hugging one wall, and I think you have to do it hugging the outside wall. If you try to do it on the inside wall, the pillars will bring you so far down that you'll have to use that on the edge. A lot of these together in the next 1 or 2 years. The Necromancer, named Necromancer companion, who actually gets lines, where most of the name is actually Eve. That's the Necromancer that's actually featured on some of the box art in the game, and she's not present in pre-searing. She just kind of shows up, even though she's in the manual to the game. She has a backstory that's in the manual to the game. So there's Aiden, Menlo, Sin, the elementalist, so I am not as I am. She's the elementalist that stands Rurik, so alright, when you go up the steps, if you'll notice, I can talk to her briefly. She was waiting for her father. She is one of the regular companions, and I just flat out can't remember who the mesmer is, because there's one of each class. Maybe there is a somebody. Actually, those are, all, they're kind of the main characters of the game. They're all considered Prince Rurik is just going to be one of the Anyway, we need to find over on the vial right back here. If you're a necromancer, there he is. If you're a necromancer, he actually has a quest for you, somewhat difficult one, and so it's usually best to leave him until a little bit later when you head down here anyway, especially considering how hard it is to get to him. Anyway, he gives us proof that the Charr have been coming into the catacombs. What's interesting is if you play the necromancer path all the way through, what you actually find in the necromancer storyline for Pre-searing is you'll have one of your quests is to find out that, and I think it's Oberon, it might have been somebody else, is actually been letting the Charr in. And he gives you this little, the claw, the broken Charr claw, as a trinket to kind of put you off the scent, and that plays into the final story. You don't get nearly as much of it doing the warrior story. And this is the, you get this as part of the same thing. There's Charr coming across the gate, and you get to, this is your first Charr, unless you get across the road. You don't actually have to do anything here, and you'll find Sarah, you don't have to do anything either. Rurik is high enough level and is powerful enough that he can beat all of these things on his own, so like it just did. As you can see, that's, one-on-one, you're a match for any of the Charr right here. It's when you, as a solo player, get ganged up on by several of them, that you die pretty quick. Alright, now I'm going to head off to find the secret garden where Nicholas Sandford and Professor Yakkington are, which is where you could get the Krytan helmet and a couple of weird collectibles as part of the game. Like they've got a daily quest that's happening. As I mentioned previously, Sandford is a game. As I also mentioned, you'll see I'm getting to res and then go and finish them off. Something that's handy is when you die in pre-searing, you don't get, you don't lose morale. But once we finish this portion of the game and move on into the next portion of the game, then every time you die, you lose morale, which decreases all your stats and everything. All the way up to you can lose like 60% of everything. And it, for a lot of people, especially for soloing, that pretty much just means that you better log out and come back later. Anyway, I completely forget at this point to go get to the server guard and then end up going to the car, and then we'll have to turn around and come back. See, this is the actual way to the secret garden. It's right over here. Unfortunately, I don't know if I've had latency or something just glitched. But there's Nicholas Sandford and Professor Yakkington. He gets a little bit of interesting backstory. He's also present in the next part of the game. Like I said, these two were added in. Matter of fact, this whole area didn't exist when I first started playing the game. It was added in pretty late in Guild Wars Life. It was one of the things that was added in to try to keep people interested in playing Guild Wars right before Guild Wars 2 came out. It's the only way that you can get the Krytan helmet upgrade. But it takes 50 red irises. If I would have been paying attention, I probably would have been able to, because you do need to give a few to Gwen. But if I would have been paying attention and remembered I needed to do this, I probably could have had about 20 at this point, and I might have tried to make the effort to go ahead and get the rest. But you can get the Krytan helmet upgrade pretty quick after you move into the next stage of the game anyway, so I decided it really wasn't that big a deal. Okay, this is known as the Bear Hunters area. You've got this group of men here. They have a couple of different conversation routines that play randomly. I get the same one here like 2 or 3 times in a row, but as I'm wandering around this area, you'll catch another one start off that's a little bit different. It's purely for entertainment purposes where I am, but if I remember correctly, they play into the Vanguard quest. Something else that they're used for too, and anyway, it's exploring all of this area, and the amount of time that I spent killing things, walking through all this, that finally convinced me, you know what, I'm tired of messing with the pre-searing. I'm going to regret going to the next part of the game before too long. There's all sorts of interesting things to it, but it's also very, very ugly and visually very boring after a while, because it's a huge area of the game, and there's a lot of stuff. And of course the game jumps up in difficulty too, so things are about to get harder and a lot less interesting. From a certain perspective. In other ways, it's a whole lot of fun. This is the mission that actually transitions you from the pre-searing part of the game to the next part of the game. You can see we've got some AI NPC henchmen with us. Another sword warrior called Stefan, a healing monk named Alessia, and an elementalist named Orion. You will have access to all of these characters to use all the time as soon as we get over into the next part of the game. First, take a look around, show you exactly where we are in relation to everything else. And listening to Rurik isn't all that important, really. See that house up on that, what looks like an island off there in the distance, is the house that's on an island off to your left if you come out of Ascalon City the other way and start looking down towards the lake. It's something that's not accessible in pre-searing, but you can reach it in the next part of the game. Again, in this mission with Rurik along, you don't actually have to do anything. You could technically just run away and run down here so Rurik engages and then just mark it, let him kill everything. You can also fly with AI as well. It's not always great. See an enemy with that glow around them, that means that they're a boss character, which means they've got some pretty good statistics. In this case, he is a boss ranger character. The glow can change colors. And again, that was very hard to do. And now we transition to the next part of the game. As you can see, the storm clouds are gathering.
It was on that day that the Charr discovered a way around the Great Wall, a way to bring it down. This is where the true story begins.
And I'll give you the grand tour of post-searing Ascalon the next time. This kind of starts out exactly the same way the last one did, where we show up and we need to report to the same people to find out what's going on.